Hello, and welcome back to Unhelped Toyota. Today we're going to do a deck profile for the deck I played at the Philadelphia Regionals this past Saturday. I went 1 and 2. The tournament started way later than we expected. It's at 10 o'clock. That it didn't start till like almost noon. So we only got a couple rounds in before we had to leave because, you know, adult life or whatever. But yeah, so we're going to do a deck profile, what I played. It's basically Toon good stuff. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, let's get in. We'll start with the main deck. We played 3 Toon Mermaid. This is just a free extender if you have Kingdom on the field, and she's a level 4, so that comes up. We played 3 Toon Harpy Lady. This is just like the modern update to Toon Mermaid. Yeah, she's the exact same thing. If you have Toon Kingdom, she special summons herself, but if you have a Toon on the field when you do so, you get to destroy a spell or trap your opponent controls, which it helps a lot, especially going second. And we have 1 Toon Dark Magician Girl. This is just like my favorite like nostalgia bait card. I love Toon Dark Magician Girl, so I decided to play it. This is the 51st card in the deck, though. If you were to try to play Toon deck, don't play this card. This card's terrible. But I like it, so I just threw it in. It's my deck. I can do what I want. We played triple Water Enchantress of the Temple. Adventure stuff is good. This engine's very good. I did not really see it that much throughout this event. Obviously, it was only 3 games, so it's not really like the best sample size, but I did not see this anywhere near enough in the event, and I would actually change a few things to make myself see it a little bit more. But yeah, it's very good, so if you can play it, definitely play it. It is expensive. It kind of just is what it is. It's expensive. If you can't afford it, don't play it, I guess. 1 Wandering Griffin Rider. This is the Omni Negate. If you have the token, that's good. You want to play that. It's kind of the whole reason to play the adventure engine to begin with. We had triple Tenyi Spirit at Hara. This card is quite good if you open it. It's a brick and a half when you open it mid game though, or when you top deck it mid game. Yeah, it should. I mean, it's a link. It's a free link to, basically. So that's really all that matters. But and then we have the one at Hara. You use Ashuna. Ashuna banishes. Like you make monk, banish Ashuna, search at Hara, summon at Hara. You got a link to, and it can be like Kalki Fibrax or just like Dagda or Predaplant, Verte Anaconda if you really want to. So whatever you need, it can kind of create them. So that's good. Next to the hand traps, we have triple Ash Blossom. This is just the most generic hand trap. It pretty much hits any deck, even if it's not like crippling to anything. It'll touch every deck for the most part. So it's good so if you're playing like a competitive deck, at least you have like it'll hit something. But if you're playing something that's more like Rogue or like Tier 2 or something, it always has a target. So that's good. We have double Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit. This hits the adventure engine really well. You can hit the Wandering Griffin Rider or the Faithful Adventures, and it stops both. It will stop either one of their effects, which is good. So, and it's a psychic for Emergency Teleport, which is good. We have the 1 Veiler. We're just playing this because of Kalki Fibrax, to be honest. But I mean, it's a good hand trap, so might as well. We have 1 Punk Madam Spider. I can't really pronounce this. It's a pretty decent card though. It works just like Ghost Ogre where you can summon it off of your E-Tele. But it searches a trap card, a punk trap card, but the one we're playing is a monster negate. So basically you go through the same combo you would have been going through anyway with Emergency Teleport, but you get a monster negate out of it as well. For our Destiny Hero targets, we got Celestial and Plasma. This is a pot of green on a level 4, so like there's no reason not to play this one. This you probably shouldn't play. I guess technically Dasher's probably better, but honestly, if you open this or Dasher, it's kind of just shit. So there's no reason. It doesn't really matter. Like whatever your second Destiny hero is, it basically doesn't matter. Dasher is garbage. So this just looks cooler, so I went with this one. If you really think Dasher is a lot better, play Dasher. but honestly, I don't see in any way where either one of them actually come up. Artifact Scythe, again, Dag to Scythe, pop, lock people out of extra decks, that whole fun shtick. And that's it for the monsters. On to the spells. We played triple Toon Kingdom. This is the best Toon field spell or version of Toon World you got. It's not exactly great, but it is good. It protects your Toons from destruction by just banishing a card from your deck. And it's a field spell instead of a continuous spell, so it doesn't clog up your zones as badly. That's pretty much it. It's not great, but compared to Toon World, which literally just says pay 1,000 life points and has no effect, it's obviously an improvement. We have triple Toon Bookmark. This is a really good searcher because it searches things like Comic Hand as well as your Toon cards. The downside is this is once per turn. But also you can banish it to protect Kingdom, so like it's better than... It's good. It has its uses just like the next card, which is triple Toon Table of Contents. This is probably the best searcher in the game in all reality, except the fact that it's locked into Toons. It searches every Toon card, like Toon Monster and Spell and Trap, whatever. Not things like Comic Hand, but typical Toon cards. But it can also search itself, so like you can search through them and get less cards in your deck if you really want to. Doesn't come up as much in this deck specifically. However, searching using Toon Table of Contents to search the bookmark does come up because then you can protect Kingdom with the bookmark. So that's helpful as well. Double Comic Hand. It's just Snatch Steal that also turns your monster into a Toon so it can attack directly, which is really good. If you could play 3 Snatch Steal, you probably would. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm only playing 2, but only because it's really only good going second. If you're going first with this, it kind of is just a brick. But it's too good not to play. Probably could have cut it to 1. We'll get to where I would have, what I would have cut at the end of the video. We have 1 Rites of Animaseer. I learned about this regional a week before the regionals happened, so I didn't really get a chance to truly build the deck. I just kind of threw it together.
So the technology actually doesn't exist. So it's
Wait, the technology? William, here is the technology. I've asked you to simply make it smaller.
Okay, sir, that's what we're trying to do, but honestly, it's impossible.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave! With a box of scraps!
So searching for the adventure stuff was quite troubling. No one had it. The only options I really had were to order it online, which was like, it probably wouldn't have got here anyway. So we just went to our local store and we bought several boxes of the set. This is what we managed to pick up 1 of this, 3 Enchantress. We picked up everything, but we only got 1 of this card. So I would play more. Honestly, I would like to play 3, but it is what it is. We had 1. Also, shout outs to Gardens of Earthly Delights for coming through with this package. They're the local game store that I go to in Philly, and honestly, I bought 2 boxes personally of this set. What is it? Of Grand Creators, but he sat there and opened 2 other boxes of it to try and pull the cards I needed so that I could just buy those cards instead of buying 4 or 5 boxes. Honestly, if he didn't open those 2 boxes, I wouldn't have had the adventurous stuff that I have. So we have 1, the Faithful Adventure. You only need the 1. It's incredibly searchable, so there's only really, you just play the 1. We have 1 Dracoback, the Rideable Dragon. Again, it's incredibly searchable. You only really need the 1. It's not that great. The bounce is really good. The bounce comes up quite a bit, and the fact that you can discard it and it like equips itself to the token is really good. But honestly, unless you're going second, it's not that great. It's mostly just a go in second card. But it's free fodder in your hand for the discard to search for the Griffin Rider. So next we had 2 Emergency Teleport. Honestly, you should probably play 3 of this. It's at 3. You should probably play 3. I only played 2 because I'm an idiot. Honestly, I should have cut 1 of the Comic Hands to play the 3rd one. Also, this has got the ulti and the Collector's Rare. Should have played a 3rd one though. Just didn't really want to. Or shouldn't say didn't want to. Didn't think I needed a 3rd one. It never really came up in testing because you don't really rely on the engine that much. Because when I was testing, I was playing Ogre, not the Madden Spider. I picked up Madden Spider at the last minute because I realized, holy shit, this is actually pretty cool. And like threw it in the day before I made my deck list, like right when I was making my deck list. If I had known I was going to play Madden Spider, I probably would have played it at 3 instead of 2 though. Next we have 2 Fusion Destiny. It's at 2, so you played 2. Kind of wish it was at 3 because I like drawing it more than I like going into Verte, but it is what it is. This is another package I probably would cut at least the majority of it, although it did come up when I opened it. 1 Sky Striker Engage, 1 Hornet Drones, and 1 Widow Anchor. Honestly, I never saw this. I did not see this card the whole tournament. Obviously, it was only 3 rounds, but I did not see this. Of these 2, I saw Hornet Drones once. It did exactly what it was supposed to, and it basically won me a game. I ended up just quitting the game because I knew I was dropping that round, but this basically won me the game. It allowed me to go into Verte. I could go into Verte, and that basically just won the game. And then Widow Anchor would have won me a game, but my stupidity fucked it up. So that's not really a fault of the card. I had 2 spells in hand plus this going second. So I could have made it 3 spells because I had Toon Bookmark. I could have searched Toon Table of Contents and then went in the Kingdom. But I went right in the Kingdom by just thinking too far ahead, and I couldn't steal his monster with this. Had I done it the proper way, I would have been able to steal the monster, and that would have been game. But that's on me, not on the card. Honestly, the engine itself was decent. I think I just have too many engines that only really work turn 1. So if I had to cut something, it would either be this or the Tenyi stuff, and I think the Tenyi stuff is just generally better. The fact that Hornet Drones isn't an effect monster and it would take a second extra deck space is kind of an annoyance, whereas the Tenyis aren't. So the Tenyis are just a little bit more versatile. Also, Ihara is a tuner, so that adds outplays. So while this can really only go into Dagda for the most part, and it's 1 card less, but Tenyis are a little more versatile. So if I had to pick, I think I'd cut this and just play something else. Honestly, I might even cut this and just lower the deck count. The last spell is Double or Nothing. I really like Utopia, and this is a really fun card. And if you're playing level 4s, you can just kind of win out of nowhere. So that's what I did. It's won me at least one. It won me my match once, and it won me a game, I think, 1 other time. It also bricked me twice, which was kind of annoying. But there's nothing you can do. It is what it is. Still really like the card, and I would probably play it again. Honestly, any deck I get a chance to play it in, I basically will. Next we have triple Infinite Impermanence. Just good hand traps, not once per turn. It's honestly probably the best hand trap right now. And then we have the 1 trap, the Dangerous Gabu. This is the Punk Trap you search. It is a monster effect negation, and that's pretty good, especially when it's free. Like, it costs you 600 life points if you e-tele to play it, so it's just a free card. That's it for the main deck. On to the extra. For the extra deck, we have 1 Utopia Double. This is pretty self-explanatory. We're playing Double or Nothing, but you make this. It searches Double or Nothing and then summons a Utopia on top of itself and makes the Utopia's attack 5,000. And then the Double or Nothing doubles that 5,000 to 10. So if your opponent has a less than 2,000 attack monster on the field, it's immediately game. This is great going second, and I loved it. 1 copy of Utopia. I didn't actually get to play this Ultimate Rare Utopia that I currently have. I ordered it beforehand, like at the beginning of the week, but I didn't get a chance to play it because it didn't come until Saturday afternoon. Kind of sucks. Anyway, Utopia. You have to play it for the Utopia Double combo. Also, I really like Utopia, so I just wanted to play Utopia. 1 copy of Abyss Dweller. In theory, it's really good against Phantom Knights, although it didn't actually come up. I never played a Phantom Knight player, and honestly, I didn't go into rank 4s as much as I thought I would, and when I did, it was almost always Utopia Double. Also ordered an Ultimate Rare of this, and it didn't come in time. It's still not here. Along with my Toon Kingdoms. I ordered Ultimate Toon Kingdoms, they didn't come in time either. 1 Tornado Dragon. In theory, it's good spell and trap removal. In practice, like I said, I don't make rank 4s as much as I thought I would. A lot of times the Toons just got used for link material unless I was going for game with double. so this didn't really come up. I also only played one back row deck, and it's Eldritch, and this isn't great against Eldritch because, you know, they all get effects in the graveyard. So it didn't really come up as much as I thought it would, but I honestly, I'd still probably play it. Even like now, like I'd probably still play this. I would like to squeeze Prosperity into this deck, but this would be, you know, a Prosperity target until game 2 or something. But anyway, doesn't matter. I'd still play this. I like the card a lot. I just didn't really come out. One Dagaris. I mean, it's a draw 2 for skipping your next draw phases. Going first, it's not great. I played it one time. I made it going first, and I built it in the deck as a going first option. This is actually all the Xyz. I put it in the deck as a going first option, along, like, all 3 of these are my going first cards for the combo, if I have room for a rank 4. And I did, but it was going to be something I had to link off. So I ended up making Dagaris to draw 2 cards, hoping to get into the adventure stuff. Not only did I not draw into the adventure stuff, which is not really Dagaris' fault, but also, like, skipping the next 2 draw phases really slowed down my game. Because I couldn't really do anything for 2 turns. I ended up winning that game, but I did not like the way it resolved. Honestly, I would probably only play this going second. Again, like, if I was playing it again, it would be like going second to draw 2 cards to try and, like, win that turn. But honestly, if I'm going to make this, I'd probably just rather make the Utopia double. I don't know. I guess it's an option. I don't think it was that good. I didn't really like it as much as I thought I would. Although it is a very good card, so, like, I don't know, probably needs more testing, but I didn't really like it as much as I thought it would. We got one Monk of the Tenyi. I really like this. Honestly, it's just necessary to get your Tenyi in the graveyard. One Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden. This puts the Water Enchantress into the graveyard. That's basically it, but it keeps the body on field, so you can use it for link material. One Sky Striker Ace Kagari. Again, gets your Hornet Drone into effect monster. Also adds back the Hornet Drone, or you can add back any Sky Striker card that's in your graveyard. So at one point, I added back the Widow Anchor after using it earlier in the duel to, you know, get the effect off it that way. So this was good. I would definitely play this again. Also, that Ultimate Rare looks wonderful. So I would definitely consider playing. I would definitely play this again. Although I didn't really like the engine that much. I did talk about that. Didn't really like the engine as much, but I really like Kagari. So honestly, I'd probably consider playing the engine just to play the Kagari. We have one Dagda. Gets you Artifact Scythe. One Predaplant Vertatic Honda. Gets you to DPE. One Halki Fibrex. We don't really use this card in this deck. I never really played it. The one time it came up, it got negated. But it's honestly, its only purpose for me was to make Celine. I had no other Link 3 to go into with it, so, like, a lot of times if I was making this, I could have just made these instead. So it didn't really do much. But I could make this, I could use it to summon Veiler, that makes Celine, and then, you know, Celine goes into the access code. Everyone knows this combo line. So, like, that was fine. But honestly, it didn't come up as much as I thought it would. So yeah, that. Also, I played the one Appaloosa. So if I was going first, I could still do this combo line, but turn it into an Appaloosa instead of a access code talker. And sometimes that's actually pretty good because then you get 2 monster negates off of the Appaloosa, which isn't a lot, but 2 monster negates is better than not 2 monster negates. So yeah, sometimes we played that. That's it for the links. And if you're counting, that leaves one card left, and it's DPE. Best card in the deck by far. In a simplified game state, which this deck does make pretty well, this just destroys everything. So yeah, I can't recommend this enough. This is a great card. Definitely worth its price tag. This is one of the reasons I cut my Extravagance from the deck, though, because this is too good, and I don't have a second one to play. So yeah, I could have played 2 of everything else in the extra deck if I really wanted to. This is the only exception. So, but it was so good that I didn't want to take the chance of banishing it, so I'd cut the Extravagance. Honestly, I think that was still the right thing. I don't think I'd play Extravagance in this again. I think Prosperity is definitely the better card for this deck, because while you don't need the whole extra deck, you do need about 10 cards from it. You could squeeze it down to 9 though once you see your opening. So with that in mind, I would still play the Extravagance or the Prosperity. I would play Prosperity again just to make this more live, and so you can get fix your hand when you need to. As for the deck as a whole, cards I would change. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I think I would cut the Sky Striker engine from the deck. That didn't do as much as I thought it would, and it's kind of not as versatile as I wanted it to be. I'd much rather just keep the tennies and cut that. The only other thing I would really change, I would like to play more Rites of Animaseer. I think that was a pretty big miss on my part, not having the 2 extra copies of it. Like, I just didn't see this engine as much as I would have liked to, so playing the extra 2 copies probably would have been smart. I would definitely play the 3rd Emergency Teleport. That's just stupidity. I don't know what I was thinking there, not playing the 3rd one. Honestly, besides that, I think as far as like a Toon deck goes, this is probably as good as it's going to get, at least anytime soon. There's some changes I would make. Like I said, I'd play Prosperity. I'd probably cut the Sky Striker engine for the Prosperity. Maybe fit in a different Link 3. Something like maybe an IP Masquerena and like a Unicorn or something like that, just to have something to go into turn 1. But yeah, I don't think I'd play the what's it called? I don't think I'd play the Sky Striker engine again. Also, I really think that I should have played the 2 extra Rites of Animaseer. Obviously, I didn't have them. It is what it is. That's the only real changes I would make to the deck. A lot of the deck was fine. As you can see, I think the hand trap lineup was decent. At one point, I was maining Nibiru's. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because in my matchups that I played, it only ever came up one time, and that was against Dragon Link, and then I sided it in. I didn't see it anyway, which, I mean, obviously that is what it is, but I just didn't see it. So, but that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. I know some of you aren't going to like this because it's competitive Toons, and you're like, no, why are you playing all this new modern garbage that's not Toon cards? Honestly, just trying to make the deck as good as possible. Sometimes you just don't get to play 40 cards in the archetype and call it a good deck. Toons aren't that great. The best cards it has are these free level 4 summons. So sometimes you just kind of have to do what you have to do to make it good. And some of you aren't going to like this because I'm calling a Toon deck competitive. I'm going to be honest, I'm using that with the utmost stretch of the word. But honestly, any deck that can Scythe Lock and play the adventure stuff consistently is at least decent. Like, it's at least relatively good. And Toons, while they don't particularly add anything to the deck, in fact, I would say it's arguably just a dextrament to be playing, a bunch of what are kind of just bricks on their own. Making Utopia double to go for game on turn 2 is honestly pretty cool. So yeah, thanks for watching.